over today. That was just a quick welcome, and then I just want to dive into, the commercial installations that Freedom's going to be offering, and only Freedom's offering this. So this commercial financing is for profitable businesses. The monthly bill that we're looking for is around $800 to $5,000 a month. This is, essentially a 10 kW to 100 kW system. And the site needs to be a good install site. So don't bring over Kentucky Fried Chicken that has a $6,000 a month electric bill and expect us to be able to do anything, because, as you know, they have vents and fryers and all that, and they're going to have huge bills, but it's not a site that we could ever work with. So we need big roofs, or we need big space that we can put a lot of panels on. And then to back up, the reason, Brett and I came up with this is essentially no good financing options out there for commercial customers. We've met with a dozen of them. We tried to push deals through half a dozen of them, and every one of them seems to blow up for one reason or another. Everyone says they have it, their brother has it, their cousin has it, but no one actually does it. So we don't want to self-finance, but we've come up with a program that will work for us, work for you, and work for the customer. And maybe this is, sometimes you get forced into doing uncomfortable things that are actually good for you, and we think this is one of those situations. So here's how it works. The general process is, you're going to set up an appointment. We have a lot of commercial appointments that we've ran, and because of financing, basically we can close them, and we have a lot of leads for this commercial space. We'll continue to turn on once we vet the system and get it working correctly. So we will provide you guys appointments, but by all means go canvas, contact people at businesses, do your marketing stuff, and find these people that are profitable, that have about these electric bills, and have roof or space. So you find this customer on your first appointment. You're basically just going to go over a concept commitment, gather some data, talk about solar, whatever you want to talk about, baseball, kids, whatever. But you're going to do some more just informational gathering. This is going to be a 2-call close minimum. We can't do it all, on that first visit like we can on the resi stuff. So you get the first call, get a concept commitment, and schedule that second appointment. Just like in resi, if you can't get the first call close, you schedule that second call. In this case, you just have to present the proposal and the contract and all those things. Then you'll create an intake form, and I'm gonna these get broken down individually later on, but you'll submit an intake form, so I'll go over that with you. To Freedom, we will create you a proposal and give you all the ammunition you need to sell the job. You'll go back for the second call, third call, whatever it is, and then you will present the proposal. You'll get them to sign the contract, collect a $1,000 deposit, and then submit that as a new deal to us, a new commercial deal. So we'll have a financing type on our CRM that has new deal commercial. You'll submit that in with the check, and then we're going to schedule that site audit with the business owner. We're going to go out to the site audit just like like our resi stuff. We're going to check to make sure that it's available space, good sun, safe to build, safe electrical that we can backfeed on, or find solutions to make this. You guys know how we work. We'll find how construction-wise, how can we build this thing to make it actually work and be effective. Then we will take all the contract, the deposit, which won't be cash yet, and the site audit information. We will put it in a folder, and that's going to be presented to Brett, myself, and then Chris Wesche, our CFO. And we will underwrite the job based on how well those things stack up, in terms of the customer, who they are, and then the site itself, just to make sure everything's going to work. If everything jives, then, we move on to the process of, designing and installing the system. So that is the general process of it. Let me dive in a little bit, get a little more granular. This first call commitment, the customer is going to come up with 30% down. So that's the federal tax credit. They're going to pay us, so on a $300,000 job, they're going to give us $90,000. They're going to get that $90,000 back at the end of the year. So that's a 1-for-1. That's why this customer needs to be profitable. And then they're going to have 2 loan options. They're going to have a 5-year loan or a 10-year loan. If they do the 5-year loan, essentially on average, it's about 2 times their electric bill. So if they had a $1,600 monthly electric bill, then the loan payment would be $3,200 per month for 5 years. If they did the 10-year, it's essentially the price of the electric bill, so $1,600. And this depends on the production of the system as well as the avoided cost of power. So SCE is pretty darn cheap for their power. SDG&E is pretty darn high, and PG&E is pretty high. So those are fluctuating numbers, but essentially that's about what it is. Now, on top of the ITC for the commercial stuff, there's MACRS, and MACRS is an accelerated depreciation program. We have a federal and we have a state, and these are all dependent on fancy financial stuff, their tax rates, things of that nature. But essentially, on average, it's about 30% on the federal and 8% on the state. And then we're also, and again, the proposal will spell these things out in detail, but you do not want to turn in a job where a customer doesn't understand this. Well, they're not going to give you a check, number one, but they need to understand the general basics of it, and then the proposal will give you the exact numbers and the exact detail for that specific situation. We are offering a 5% early payment discount on the principal, on the remaining balance. I guess there is no principal because it's all the remaining balance. We're still offering the 25-year production guarantee, just like our Resi stuff. So we're working with Morton to finalize the contract, but essentially it's going to look identical to the Resi with some addendums showing the monthly payment schedule for the term associated. Right now, we're not going to change. We're not going to do any 90-cell commercial panels that are less efficient or cheaper. We have a great price with Q-Cell. They're a great panel. So we're gonna use the same panels right now, the 280s, and then as of right now, we're going to continue with SolarEdge. The only difference is with SolarEdge on a commercial front, they use one optimizer for 2 panels. It's kind of a more expensive product for us, for sure. But we feel in the long run, which is, what Brett and I are here for, is the long run. We're not here to make money and run. We'll be able to monitor these systems and maintain them and basically manage the fleet more accurately remotely without rolling truck to these, cheap centralized inverters. So we're building, a semi-premium product on a commercial scale for the customers. PSAs, let me kind of, I don't think I put a section on that, but everybody knows what the pre-site assessment is. If you don't, you got to figure that out. Essentially, this is, where we can see what panels fit. Let me go through a couple of these right now. This is a business in Downey. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name. We'll just call him Ramen. This is a good roof. There's 79 modules on roof 1, 35 on roof 2. Now I'm going to go into more detail on PSAs later to give you more clarity on how these are used, but this looks like a good candidate. It's got enough for 125 times 280, So that is 35 kW. So this would be good for, you know, like a $1,200 a month, somewhere around there, electric bill. Now this site sucks. This is, you know, there's 32 panels. So this guy in Redlands, this could be a KFC. I mean, you can see all the vents, the fans. I mean, essentially those places are cooking things, getting them hot, and then they're spending a lot of energy getting them cold. And then they have to use all this roof space to make it happen. I don't know how they make any money, but they do, I guess. So the only way this would kind of work is a shade structure, but chances are it's not going to work. Chances are there's not going to be space there. This one, similar deal. The only way this would possibly work is a shade structure in here. And I'll go into the details of shade structures, but this roof is just way too chopped up. This is a agricultural place up in Fresno area, and this is actually a job we sold. So this is our first Freedom commercial deal, paid with installment payments. And this is going to be a 63 kW. I don't know. We'll look at the proposal, but this is fantastic. This is what we like to see. Roof 1, you know, 95 panels. Roof 2, it's a little bit north, but it's such a low sloped roof. It'll produce good. So when you go out on your first call, you guys know how to get the PSA. You just send it to Alex at freedomsolarco.com. Just give him the address. Give them some, you know, these farm ones are tough. You know, I kind of had to go into Google Earth, kind of locate it and snip it and send him the snippet and make sure he knew, hey, just work on this barn. So, you know, I gave him some more clear instructions on it. So he knew to put it at the right place. So that puts us in the PSA. Now everyone's going to ask, batteries. We're not going to do batteries right now. Each one of our systems is going to be battery ready, so we can add them on later. The main reason we don't want to do batteries is it doesn't make financial sense for them. They cost a lot, and we don't really know what the benefit of it in their utility bill is today. So what the plan is we're going to do solar to mitigate all the electrical consumption, and then we're going to talk to them about demand mitigation, meaning like maybe cycling equipment differently. There's a lot of different techniques to try and reduce the demand charges. And then there's also methods of changing their rate structure that's more solar friendly, that doesn't have the demand charges. If I'm saying some things that don't resonate with you and you don't understand, just Google what is demand charges for utilities. This real quick. Don't think I'm an expert on all this stuff, all these utility rates. I don't know them all. Nobody does, but we have a really good software program, and we have a couple of real smart people here that will help us. But essentially, I just Googled the SDG&E commercial rates. So there you go. It's not, and there's SCE rates. There is PG&E rates. So if you select one, I think I had it opened up on a spreadsheet. So if I select that one link, this is what I get. And it's very confusing. So just gather the data, get a general concept, learn more about it, but it's not really too relevant. Just get the general concept committed, bring it into us, and then we will give you the best solution for that situation. So again, batteries, great idea. We'll come back in a year after the system has ran for a year, and we can check to see if there is a financial benefit for them to put batteries on their systems. And that could be the Tesla Power Pack. If you go Tesla, it's a Power Pack for commercial, or Sonnen, or whatever it is, but all those prices are dropping down as demand charges go up, and then it makes financial sense for them to do it. If they want to do a shade structure, they're going to have to come out of pocket for the cost of that shade structure. And a shade structure can be anywhere from 50 cents a watt to $1 a watt, and it just depends on how elaborate they want it to be. I'm sure you guys have seen the one Walmart by our office. It's basically like a 6x6 sort of double cantilever, tilt. That's kind of the most cost effective. And, this all depends on the size of the system. There's just a lot that goes into it. It's a very customized solution. But they're going to have to come out of pocket for that. And we can negotiate to a certain extent, adjusting these things, but it is another expense that they're going to have. So everyone's going to say, I want a shade structure for all my people. Great, good idea. It's going to be $1 more per watt. All right, so let me dive in. You've gone past this first call. You got the check. You got the intake form. You got the PSA. Customers fired up. You're going to submit it into us as a new deal. This is your intake form. So Nicholas made this for us, but or for you, essentially just basic customer data. Name, phone number, email, an estimated system price, what you think it might be, estimated, down payment, 30% of that system price, what utility it is. We're only working SCE, PG&E, and SDG&E. SCE. I don't know anything about the munis on a commercial level. We can potentially look at it. But we do that on a case-by-case basis. Now, what we need to accurately create a good system is good data, good existing data. The easiest way for us to do it is if you give us the customer's username and password to their utility company, whether any one of them, PG&E, SCE, or SDG&E. And then when we go on, we will download their data. It comes in, it gets kind of dorky here, but it's like 15-minute interval data, demand rates, all that fun stuff comes in a really large CSV file. And then that gets uploaded into our proposal tool. And then we can see exactly what they're using, how much they're paying, how they're paying, etc. And then from there, we can come up with a solution to combat it, using solar. So that is the best option. If they don't have an online account, create them one. And that's the easiest. Nick will just go in there and gather the information. Every once in a while, someone says, I don't want you in my utility bill. And there's really no reason. We're not going to pay their bill, but they don't want us to do it. So you can do it yourself. These are 3 websites that go through the process of downloading that data into a CSV file. So there's going to be some back and forth. You might corrupt the file, you might put it in the wrong spot, something like that. Again, it's best to do option 1. You can work with Nick. Nick is here. Here's his email. Here's his phone number. He can help you get that CS file, uncorrupted CSV file, so that we can, create that proposal and that solution for you. Option 3, if you can't get either of these and you're stuck somewhere, just get us, a complete electric bill, usage data for the previous year, and then we'll try our best to get a general concept, but it's not going to be a finalized design until we get this data up here. So we might have to change it later. Is your speaker on? No. So that's the intake form to get the proposal. And what we'll do with that intake form with those items is we're going to create you a customized proposal using Energy Toolbase. So let me go through the one that we have sold, the one that we're building. So this is that job up in Fresno. After Nick uploads, your customer's data, and then put some solutions together, he will create this proposal for you. This customer wants the 10-year, the total cost of the system, and by the way, we're recording this, so I can send out the recording, and then I can also send out the file. So I know I'm gonna get that question. We'll send you out all the information that's presented here to you in an email, so you can review it later, because I know it's a lot. I mean, we've been working on this for months, and so I know I'm kind of like just blasting it out there. So we will email it out so you can kind of study it more. But the purchase price is $315,000, which would make the payment 30% of that is $94,500, and then a monthly payment of $1,838 for 10 years. Rebates and incentives. This is the crazy part. So he gets 30%, or she, they get 30% of the total payment, then 30% federal MACRS, and then 8 to 10% state MACRS, which knocks it down to effectively $115,000. Brett Bushy and Chris Weshy are going to be your best advocates for understanding the financial ramifications and benefits of this, and they're more than happy to meet with the commercial owner's CFO or the commercial owner to help close the deal. And I can show up as well if you need me. So you have complete support by us to get the deals closed. But they talk about some number stuff. I don't even know what they're talking. It's like Latin. It's like me talking about three-phase power. So anyways, so this is the savings. There's an IRR of 43.52, which I think is really good. I don't know where they get that anywhere else. This is a chart that basically shows the down payment. Then they're going down. The difference between this blue line and this red line is their savings. And I'm probably going to set up a separate webinar just to go through this proposal tool for the close a little bit more deeply. But right now, this line and this line, that's the savings of it. This is the federal tax credit, the MACRS, all those things. Then once those burn out, it starts kind of climbing back up. And this is the cumulative cost of energy. Cumulative cost of energy. So that's why this line levels out. It's not that you're still paying, it's just you've already paid that. And this would be the cumulative if you continued with the utility company. That's your avoided cost of power. This is showing pretty obviously that we wiped out the electric bill. This is that 315 minus the federal tax credit, minus the state credit, minus the federal MACRS, et cetera, 63 kW. This is a farmer. Farmers farm more when the sun is out, which means they have higher usage in this time. And a lot of these guys out in the valley, the water table is going deeper and deeper and deeper. So they're putting in these ginormous motors to pump the water out. And that's why you have this big push. He's got to water his almonds a lot. And he's got to get a lot of water out of the ground. Farms kind of shut down about this point. And then obviously fully functional here. A commercial space would be more level across here and probably a couple bumps in the summertime for ACs and things like that. This is a brief explanation. I'm not a tax advisor. You're not a tax advisor. These businesses do have tax advisors, but the ITC, we all know what that is. The MACRS is Modified Cost Recovery System. Federal and state, that's a lot of cheese that the government allows them to depreciate their systems. And we checked law and checked it again, and you are able to depreciate the gross system price. So you don't depreciate the net value after the ITC, you depreciate the gross system price. If Brett was talking, which he's here, he might talk, he gets very excited about all this money number stuff, but apparently that means a lot. They're going to save a lot of money. The current, so you have the utility rates. This is the rates of these types of structures for PG&E. It's a PG&E job. The current electric bill is here. So this is Nick got the data and uploaded the data into this proposal tool, Energy Toolbase, and this is what it came up with, saying how they spent their money on power last year, the whole calendar year of 2015 to 16. So high demand, high energy total. Then the new electric bill, this is using the same rate structure. So this is if we keep AG5, AG5 for the solution. We don't change the rate after putting up all the solar. Remaining bill 8540. This is if we change their rate structure. What happens, I don't want to get into too much detail, but depending on the rate you're at, some have higher cost of power and lower cost of demand, and some have higher cost of demand, lower cost of power. So we're going to put that in there. We're going to put their data in there. We're going to put our solar on, and then we're going to see what rate shows the best ROI for the customer. And then, of course, if the customer doesn't understand how demand works, we can give them some advice on how to further reduce these demand charges. I'm not sure on an agricultural level, like I don't know if it's one pump or what, I don't know. But one example is like a car wash. When guys show up to work early in the morning, they cycle on the different pieces of equipment. So there's not a huge demand spike. That's a simple example. And then you go further, and then it goes into tables and charts, and we are being very conservative. They're only saying a 3% escalation on the utility rate. You could argue, the average 6.7 over the last 30 years. Commercial probably not so much, but we could go up a little bit, but this is very conservative. This is 30% federal tax rate, and then 8% state income tax rate. And this shows, the money of it. This is the upfront. So you're negative, and then you have that payment, but then you're not paying the electric bill. You get the state MACRS, and then you get the federal MACRS and the federal tax credit. So out of the gates, you're over $1,000 a month cash positive. As you go along, this is the cumulative. They never go negative cumulative. They can go a little bit negative here, but that's, can be mitigated through demand. I'm sorry, that can be remedied through demand mitigation. And then obviously they don't have finance payments on year 11. So now when you don't have finance payments or electric bills, your savings go up significantly. System is warranted, guaranteed. to produce power. So, you know, people should be signing up for this 365 days a year. The system could last 50 years. So we could easily put this out another 20 years and get to the million or whatever. And of course, the energy savings, if we put 5% on the cost of power going up, then this column goes up significantly as well. And these are some other, you know, just financial chart things that go along with it. Have fun looking at all those and just kind of learning what it is. So let me just hop in here and see. I'll cut it out. Kidding me, stupid Adobe. Let me try and restart that. One thing, ladies and gentlemen, is make sure we all follow the same code of conduct, and we are not financing these systems. These are what is called installation payments. We got to be very careful how we word this and put it together, because we don't want to be subject to, you know, consumer affect our ability to do these jobs. So, all right, so we did the Energy Tool basically, so we got through that, and again, I'll send you some samples to review on your own, and you can always email me or Brett or Weshy any questions, or Nicholas about it. You go back for the second call, you bring this proposal tool, and then you bring the contract, and you collect some money, and you collect some signatures on the job. We're going to take the $1,000 deposit. We're going to take 50% after the install, and then the remaining balance is going to be at the final inspection. This is right now, we're just going to add an addendum to the contract for these installment payments on the system. And again, we are not financing. There's no financing, there's no interest, there's no nothing. We're just doing installment payments, kind of deferring the payments and doing installment payments. So again, you turn all these in, and then we schedule our site audit. That site audit gets done. Brett, myself, and Weshy will underwrite these individually, checking out the installation integrity, the financial worthiness, and then everything goes good. We build them out. Obviously, these timeline, it's, you know, we're looking more like, you know, I would shoot for 180 days, but we'll try and hit like the 90 mark. And most of it depends on the jurisdiction. In my brief experience with commercial stuff, they treat it a lot differently than residential. We have issues with our ballasting systems depending on the city and stuff like that. So just make sure you set the expectations for a little bit more time for yourselves, for your customer, and for us. And then as we get going along, you know, of course, we'll work on becoming more efficient. But after we underwrite it, we design it, we install it, we interconnect it, and then we monitor it. Same as our same process. Nothing changes there. Then you guys get paid at the final inspection. When we're done with final, you're going to get paid. Commission it's big. It's a very nice commission structure. It's obviously not the same rate, but because of the size and you know, and the ability to get these things done, the commissions are going to be large. We're going to add those as an addendum to the agreements we have, and kind of go over that in detail. But right now, we're probably going to be doing 50% of the commission at the final inspection, and then do monthly, the balance due of the commission over the 12 months. And this is obviously so we can, do as many of these as possible without, jeopardizing our business and investing too much into these jobs. So that's it. That's all I have right now on this. Just go out, start marketing it, start working on getting some jobs submitted to us, and we'll turn around. I think, Nick, 48 hours is reasonable to get these things turned around, depending on how clean you turn them in. We can do them quicker, but just give us like a timeline of when you think you have your second appointment, and then we'll get you everything you need. So, you guys can, I have everything turned off, all the sound, but if you want to instant message me questions, go ahead. I'm not seeing any questions, so all right, guys. Well, thank you for your time, and again, thank you for all your work with us, and we enjoy working with everybody, and I'm looking forward to getting some of these deals pushed through. All right, talk to you later.